Hello and welcome back to the Derailment Chronicles, where no train of thought ever stays on track. And if nobody's told you today, I'm glad that you're here with me and we're sharing this moment. Well, I did say I was going to come back with a bonus episode, and here it is. Okay. And look, I had been thinking, I'm like, I want to do another bonus episode, but the bonus episodes have sort of been like YouTuber drama, right? Which is fine and fair. But I'm thinking of doing a series because eventually I was going to get up to like doing the Dramageddon like 2 series because that was massive. I was there for that. I remember when all the videos dropped. I remembered a lot of that, right? But one person who's been a bit controversial lately and just who has never really sat well with me is James Charles. Like, it's just something about him that has never sat right with me as a human being. Like, I think something's just a bit off. So, yeah, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll start off doing like James Charles and then we'll get into like a Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, a Colleen Ballinger. Have you been on YouTube? Have you seen the train wreck? That is that podcast with Miranda and Raven Simone. Like, it's tea time. And they had to change the title. Like, that is crazy, okay? Because originally it was going to be like Colleen apologizes, but like the only ever apology you get is if you force it out of her on there, and therefore they had to change the title to whatever it currently is. That's insane to me. But I have been watching finished watching the Sean Combs The Reckoning Netflix documentary produced by 50 Cent. And oh my god, it just got me thinking about how people have patterns of like what they're doing, and then they surround themselves with like yes people, or they just create so much fear if you go against them that you don't want to go against them. Like, they break you down. And it is just like, that was scary how long he's been going for. And like, what got me about that documentary? Okay, two things got me. Okay, number one, that basketball game where 9 people died. What do you mean? Like, 9 people died, and like, that wasn't even the craziest part of the documentary. And like, it was at the beginning. It was in the first episode, and people are like, "Oh, how have we not heard about this?" Exactly, how have we not heard about it? Number 2 was when he did that MTV appearance after Biggie's funeral, after he made Biggie pay for his own funeral. And he's just out there dancing. Like, it's a TikTok trend now. Like, allegedly killed Tupac and Biggie, and you're out here like dancing like no tomorrow after you made him pay for his own funeral because he wasn't that good of a friend to you, was he? Anyway, anyway, it just kind of got me thinking about James Charles, because James has had his own allegations, not as strong as Sean's, but he has had his own, and it has been a little bit of a pattern. And I was like, okay, let's sit down, let's break it. Like, let's sit, Kiki, talk about James Charles. Got my coffee here today in my Bazinga mug I've had for absolute years. It was from, it's like Big Bang Theory, but I got it as a gift from Movie World. And honestly, it's held up and it's gone through the dishwasher. Like, this would have to be 7 years old, and it's one of my favorite cups. Got like the little, what they call it, like half of a hexagon handle, which is like really good for actually holding things. So, like, it's a really good mug. Anyway, get a coffee, get a beverage, get a snack. Let's listen. Let's watch if you're watching on YouTube, and let's get into James Charles. So, James Charles, I first heard about when he appeared on The Ellen Show in 2016 at age 17, right? And he had gone viral because of his senior yearbook photo. Now, they originally took his senior yearbook photo and it was like everybody else's, but he was like, this will not do. Came back with a full beat and a ring light, was like, I'm gonna make this the best ever, like, Senior yearbook photo, I'm going to look so good. I'm going to look like I'm off the cover of like a magazine, right? So he had the makeup done right and all of that. But what got me was his yearbook quote, like the quote under the photo was use code James10 for like 10% off at checkout. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know that was like the code on the photo. I just had seen him from the Ellen show, and then obviously was the first male ambassador of CoverGirl, which really did start shooting him into stardom because people were like, well, YouTube fame sort of thing, because people were like, oh my God, I want to look like him. He does his makeup so well. And you have to remember, this was at a time in YouTube where beauty YouTubers were like taking over, right? Your Tati Westbrooks, your Jackie Iners, your Jeffree Stars, your Manny MUAs, like Jacqueline Hill. Oh my God, the lipstick controversy. Like, I didn't watch her, but that's all I know about. Like, BeautyTube was up and coming. Like, it was what a lot of people were watching. And so it really, like, people wanted to emulate his makeup. So it was like, bam, okay. 17 years old, gained all this stardom, started amassing a YouTube following, like really growing a YouTube following, okay? And here's the thing, he's sort of from the wave of people that had sort of grown up and seen like OG YouTubers like PewDiePie, Grace Helbig, Tyler Oakley, Hannah Hart, Mamrie Hart, Lily Singh, like who used to go by Superwoman II, like come up and be successful with this sort of like content creator format, because when YouTube sort of first started, right, people didn't really see it as a job. And then these people kind of pioneered into a way that you could get a steady income from it, keep people coming back, like started cornering out the influencer space. So then when people like James, even though he was born 1999, right, by the time he wanted to start becoming a content creator, like think about what you want to do in life, these people had sort of set the path, right? So you could go, oh, I want to be a content creator, and it's not like looked upon, like frowned upon, right? So it's sort of setting this premise for kids now. Like he's sort of like that wave of after the OG YouTubers, this new wave of people that grew up wanting to do this as a full-time job rather than just sort of falling into it, if that makes any sense. But here's the thing, coming up and getting famous on YouTube is not the same as getting famous, say, through like a TV show or like Disney Channel, like child talent, right? With child talent, you usually get a manager, and they from like a, I don't know, like talent management firm, right? And they have, all your preferred videographers, stylists, PR people, sort of thing, right? You have a group that's sort of a bit more together, a bit more structured, if you will. Whereas until you get to a certain point on YouTube with a certain amount of followers, it's just you, right? Which was the beauty of YouTube. You just sit down and you talk to a camera and hope somebody's watching on the other end. You decide which content you want to like portray. You do you, okay? You choose. But once you get big enough, right, talent agencies will come, and then you'll get help with the sponsorships, interviews, like propelling your career in other directions that aren't just posting YouTube videos, right? To sort of create your internet personality, because you are your brand. And needless to say, okay, since James is in that new young sort of wave of, wanting to become a content creator for ages, right? Often young, naive, like what do you know at 17? Okay, like what did you know at 17 if you're older than that now? Like compared to what you know now. You know what I'm saying? Like life experience goes a long way to learning how to deal with people and stuff, etc. But at 17, you've been in school environments, so you haven't really had that real world experience. Hence, you're a bit naive, which is common, it's normal, and it's perfectly okay. But what happens is when you get shot into this fame and it's just you, okay, you don't have that talent agency of people behind you, you end up surrounding yourself with what's called yes people, right? And they're oftentimes they start off, they were your buddies or whatever, and you're like, hey, they need a job, I'm going to give them a job, I'm going to pay them. But what happens is, because they're getting paid and they're like maybe living in your house, like they're getting a lot from you. They don't want to talk up against you because they are worried you're going to cut them off and they're actually going to have to go find a job, right? So then they start co-signing your behavior. They start not calling out your behavior or telling you what you're doing is perfectly fine. And that's when it starts getting dangerous, okay? And that's where, like, you need experienced people in the industry. You need that kind of young, talented structure with that sort of talent management agency to sit you down and walk you through, this is what you do. And better yet, they would have a PR team. And I know in the Anna Palm versus Michaela Testa video, I was like, where's the PR team? Like, because honestly, here's the thing about why I keep harping on about PR, okay? All these young YouTubers, influencers, whatever, boast about all the houses they have, all the money they're making because you're watching their content, you're interacting with their content, hence sponsors are reaching out to them, paying them to produce content to sell onto you, right? You are the reason they are able to afford the life that they are. But, like, they just don't think of like investing in their long-term image, right? You would be like, okay, putting money in a house is a smart investment because that appreciates in value. Yes, correct. But that's not going to matter if you don't have money coming in to pay the mortgage, to pay the bills, because you didn't invest in how you're going to look long term. And how you're going to look long term is best if you have a PR person to help you manage your image. Because what you are selling is you are selling your brand, okay? And your brand is based on your reputation and how people perceive you, and PR help with that, okay? They're like, okay, don't post that or post it this way or do something about that, right? So they come in very handy for your long-term survival within this industry. And I think it's just stupid if you don't invest in getting somebody to do it. Or, like, I get it, like, you start out, you got no money and that's very different, right? But if you start amassing millions of people that are following you and you have a younger, impressionable audience, which a lot of these people, like, which James Charles does have, like, pay somebody to do it. Pay somebody a living wage to help you out, or like, surely you're with a talent agency that would have somebody that you can pay a fee to, right? That helps look after maybe other people at the talent agency, can help you out. Because our first sort of controversy that we're going to get into is with X and tweets that you posted on X when it used to be Twitter. And honestly, you could have really benefited from a PR person, because the PR person would have told you not to post this stuff. First controversy was about a tweet regarding Ebola that just showed how ignorant he was, how naive he was, etc. Now, the thing is, if you take a look at celebrities, right? A lot of them, okay, sometimes they'll post like a random tweet that gets them in some hot water, right? And then they apologize for it, they move on, whatever, right? But that's a little bit rare. like, you'd expect it from somebody like Kanye West, but you wouldn't expect it from somebody like Kate Blanchett, right? But here's the thing. They usually, okay, if they come out to speak about a matter that's like affecting globally, right? Like LA fires, Ebola, COVID, the George Floyd stuff, right? If you look at that, they're posting about links, how to help people, how they're helping people, etc. They are posting links to sites that help people get educated or help people work out legitimate places to donate to or where to go volunteer to help others, right? To ensure that they're not getting scammed. Which James was not doing, okay? And the thing is, it's like, don't speak on a matter, don't comment on a matter unless you know what you're talking about. Or, like, just post links, okay? Like, see what other people are posting online and just, I don't know, retweet those tweets. Like it doesn't look good when you're ignorant coming up with these, like, tweets about situations that you don't know. It just shows that, like, you couldn't care less about these people that are suffering with this disease in a country that can't, like, that has low economic GDPs, some hyperinflationary currencies. Like, they're struggling, okay, and they need our support to help get this pandemic under wraps, not under wraps, but like handled, right? Medicines, foods, fresh running water, etc., right? Just basic human needs. And it just shows how ignorant you are because you put yourself at the center of that with a tweet because it was affecting you negatively. Okay. And this is when we sort of start to see these narcissistic traits coming through. Okay. Then in 2017, we also had the new It movie coming out, right? The clown It. Remember when the clown train was going around? Anyway, new It horror movie, okay? The clown that lives in the drain came out and he went to watch it at the cinema. But the thing is, he didn't just watch it at the cinema. He was like live tweeting as the movie was going on from the cinema saying, like, this wasn't what I expected, blah, 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 right? Now, and people are like, why are you tweeting while the movie's going on? Just sit down, enjoy the movie, right? Just watch the movie and then, like, give us your thoughts afterwards, right? And he was just like, I can tweet in this cinema if I want to, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was hated about it, right? Which is what made the situation more than it really needed to be because somebody was coming for his character. Somebody was coming for what he was going to do, and that's not right. People aren't entitled to negative opinions of me, okay? It got so big, Finn Wolfhard, who's in the movie, but you also might know him as Mike from Stranger Things, or if you listen to his music, his band, came out and was like, yeah, you're breaking rule number 1, don't be on your phone at the cinema. And it's like, that is absolute common sense. Like, I don't, like, fine, watch the movie and then give me your commentary, that's fine. But don't be sitting there live tweeting in it. Like, what gets me is you paid money to be at that cinema to watch it for the experience. Put that phone down for 5 minutes. Like any PR person would have told you, put the phone down. Go touch some grass, okay? Oh, honestly, okay? And then from that, he did like a notes app kind of apology that felt so forced. Like, man, that's not apologetic, okay? Get in a video, okay? You're constantly on your phone. You could record a video. Don't do a bloody notes app apology. Anyway, just felt like he had done no wrong. Like Colleen Ballinger on that Tea Time podcast with Miranda and Raven Simone. What an absolute train wreck of a podcast that was. But like if this man has so much time to tweet, like, why can't you fix your content? Why can't you make your content better? Or like, why couldn't you spend that time or that money just like improving yourself? But here's the thing with narcissists, they think that they are like the bee's knees, right? So, like, would he actually attend therapy? I don't think so. 'Cause I don't think he thinks he has problems, which is a problem, right? He's like, oh, other people think I have a problem, but like, I'm perfectly good as is, right? You see where these patterns start to come from? But then, so when he did the Ebola tweet, right, Ariana Grande unfollowed him. Like, rightly so. Girl doesn't need to be concerned about you. But also, while we're on the topic of Ariana Grande, before I get to the point I was making, something about her seems off to me as well. Like, you know when people are too overly nice, but it like feels like a forced overly nice because like that's kind of like brand perception they have. Ariana Grande is that for me. Like, I don't know. Because like when they came out that she was dating like Ethan Slater from who was also in like the Wicked movie, and like they were leaving their partners for each other, etc. Well, their marriages for each other. I was like, well, I'm kind of not surprised. Like, I feel like that was kind of like a real her coming out. Anyway, she makes all right music, so I'll just focus on the music and not on her as a person. But something seems dodgy about her, and like if something comes out in the future that she's like a horrible human being, let me tell you right now, I wouldn't be surprised in the absolute and utter slightest. Anyway, Ariana unfollows him. Okay, and he's just like, oh my god, she unfollowed me, like looking like a desperate clout chaser. Like, mate, you already started to amass millions of followers. Calm the hell down. You are not in the same caliber as Miss Ariana Grande. Okay? It is a parasocial relationship between you two. Like, what you have with your followers. Okay, which we're going to get into a bit later about this parasocial relationship, but we don't hit that till about 2021. Okay, I'm currently 2017. We've got a few more years to go. And it's like, sis, Ariana's in a way different league to you. She made a good decision. Sit down and throw a tantrum to yourself in the corner because ain't nobody want to hear it. Ain't nobody caring. You're just seeming like a toddler throwing a tantrum because he didn't get the toy that he wanted. He didn't get something that he wanted and now he's throwing a tantrum. You were not entitled to get what you got, right? Like, Ariana's her own person, okay? You're not entitled to a follow from her. You're not entitled to have her keep following you. She's her own person. She's got a PR team. She's got a brand, a reputation, and an image to protect. And she can't be associated with people like you. And that's fair. That's a good decision, in my opinion. Anyway, Shody was shallow, out of touch, and once again, more narcissistic, okay? And we are only a year since he really got shot to fame. But they were only just some tweets, you know what I'm saying? Then we had the Sister Squad, okay? And now, Sister Squad was like young YouTubers who, you know, we had kind of grown up with, like Emma Chamberlain and I, similar in age kind of thing. I think she might be a little bit younger than me, but similar in age, right? You're watching people produce content that are the same age as you, relatable content, right? And anyway, I don't know, one day they just decided to get together to do the Sister Squad, probably to help promote their channels separately, but also do a crossover, right? Get their names more out, get some more followers, get some more fame, right? They are hustling and respect the hustle. So it was made, like, they were famous yet, but they weren't like at a PewDiePie level, right? Hence why they did the collabs. So you have Emma Chamberlain, you have the Dolan twins, who are Ethan and Grayson Dolan, who are no longer on YouTube. And I think I saw that they got married, but they're just living their life offline. And good for them. And then you had James Charles. Now, to me, James Charles always felt like the third wheel. Like, he was just there to be there. And it was more like Emma and the Dolan twins, right? But James was always sort of hitting on Ethan Dolan. And, like, yeah, he's a good looker, okay? The twins were good looking, okay? Like, fair, right? That's the point. But also, like, you could tell that Ethan was very uncomfortable with that situation. and was just trying to like stop it, but like James wasn't getting the hint because James only cares about James and what James wants, right? But I think he was trying to push it so hard, A, because he was desperate, but B, because there was rumors that Grayson and Emma were dating. It was a Grayson. What did I say, Grayson? Anyway, Grayson and Emma were dating. I don't think that ever came out to be confirmed, but there was a lot of things pointing towards that they were actually dating. Anyway, and James just wanted to feel part of the crew, right? Anyway, they did some collab videos. The Sister Squad achieved what it needed to achieve by pushing them to some more fame, right? And they achieved what they wanted to out of it, and then they started going their separate ways. They stopped producing Sister Squad videos. So there wasn't apart from him flirting with Ethan all the time, unwanted kind of flirting. That was all that was kind of happening there. And then I don't know if you remember, if you were on BeautyTube, Morphe Cosmetics, that all these people were doing brand deals with. They were like up and coming, sort of smaller makeup brand that started getting bigger and like competing with Mecca and Ulta and Sephora. Anyway, James did a eyeshadow palette with Morphe, and people were complaining that like they'd go to like remove the eyeshadow, but the eyeshadow would like stay on. Like if it was red pigment, your whole eye would still be red, right? Stain, even though they tried everything to get it off. And James was like, well, you wanted pigment, I gave you pigment. That's absolutely an utter BS. Like, don't come crying to me. Like, that's not my issue that you don't know how to use the palette, blah, 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 blah. Was just like completely oblivious. Well, anyway, his people filed a 52-page complaint about this palette and many other palettes that Morphe produced at the time because they were found to have dyes in it that were actually unsafe for the human skin. But that case never got to an end because in 2023, Morphe filed for bankruptcy, and hence you can't get a cent out of them. So the court case kind of stopped. But it was found to have like minerals that were like not approved to be on your skin, and hence why all those people getting their rashes and stuff. And like he just didn't really acknowledge it when it came out. It was just like, oh, okay. Like, we are the reason you're sleeping soundly in your bed in your massive house right now. And your whole thing is makeup, and like this is a revenue stream for you. And you couldn't care less about the people that are paying your bills, because the people that are paying your bills can just as easily go and watch somebody else that's more talented and cares about their audience, and you stop getting paid. The money stops coming in. People stop watching, it starts drastically reducing. Like, that is absolutely bonkers to me that you are just like willing to chuck away your audience. Like, yes, you probably have money invested if you were smart enough to get an investment person and like a financial broker, but I honestly don't believe you would have had those brains. But like, because you also didn't have the brains to hire a PR person and invest in any long-term kind of thing that you wanted to do, like a long-term version of you, but maybe you did. And like, honestly, congrats to you if you did have that sort of foresight. But it's just bonkers to me that you're willing to chuck away like a portion of your fandom. Like, they're bumping up your ego. You care about your ego. You care about your image. Even more so, like, you care about getting validation from them. Like, it fuels you as a person. And you don't care that they're like having to go to the doctors and having like medical things done because of your palette, because of the money they pay to support you. Like, that money could have been going towards rent, could have been going towards food. Like, you don't care. Like, that was bonkers to me. Absolutely and utterly bonkers. Okay, but also, once again, narcissistic. Um, and then we had the Coachella drama. And this is what really sparked Dramageddon 2, which I will get into in a later video. But Coachella. So, Coachella, if you don't know, is a massive music festival. A lot of famous musicians headline there. And what I didn't know was that there's 2 weekends. But after this drama, I learnt that there is 2 weekends. Okay. I wasn't keeping up with Coachella. I don't have money to go fly to the desert for these tickets that sell out really quickly, really expensive. Like, everything out there is expensive. Like, anyway, you get my point. I wasn't that involved with it. I thought it was just 1 weekend. Anyway, it's 2 weekends. So, like, I just remember the day that Tati dropped the video called Bye Sister, because this is how all this came out. She dropped a video called Bye Sister, which was about James Charles, because I don't know how he got the term "Hi sisters." Like, you know how he does it? Like, that was a bad impression, but you know how he does it. I don't know how that became his trademark, but that was his trademark. Anyway, she called it Bye Sister, and like, that's absolutely and utterly iconic. And I also didn't like James Charles at the time. I still don't, but I was like, oh my god, I'm here to watch whatever this is on the hate train. But I didn't realize how big it was going to blow up. Anyway, she's in the video. And she's talking about James Charles, right? And it just, honestly, that video changed the way that we can see YouTubers' subscriber counts, etc. So, here's why Tati was pissed, and here's some of the things about why, like, what was going on. So, James had gone to weekend 1 of Coachella and had an artist pass. Now, artist passes, like, you can't buy them. They get allocated to brands, etc. And the brands give it out to influencers, celebrities, whatevs, right? They have a limited amount. With these artist passes, though, it ensures that you're not out with the cattle class people, and ensures that you're not getting mobbed. Right, which, if you're a massive celebrity, I think Vanessa Hudson's been a few times, etc., you don't want to get mobbed while trying to enjoy the music festival, right? Like, a couple of photos, fine, but the amount of people that are there, you could get absolutely and utterly mobbed. Safety, security kind of thing. Anyway, James Charles was there for weekend 1, and he's like, oh my god, I want to go for weekend 2. But the problem is, he didn't have a brand that had any, like, artist passes left that were willing to send him. So he was originally in the cattle class, and then he was getting mobbed. So then he reaches out to, who I believe, Nikita Dragon, or maybe it was Nikita Dragon. It was somebody who was also controversial, and found out Sugar Bear Hair still had some artist passes left, right? And so Sugar Bear Hair was like, okay, if you advertise, okay, do a promotion, do a video advertising our hair and nail gummies, we'll give you this artist pass. And he's like, done deal. Now, this is where Tati Westbrook comes into it. Tati, okay, let's start off with, like, who Tati is to James. Tati Westbrook and her husband James took James Charles under their wing to show them the YouTube ropes. Okay, Tati had been on YouTube for ages. James, her husband James, successful businessman, right? Were helping him navigate YouTube, because he clearly needed the help and clearly didn't have a team, like I've been saying this whole bloody time, but could afford these beautiful bloody houses. Oh, anyway, took him under his wing to show him everything, okay? Now, here's the real kicker, okay? Tati has Halo Beauty, which is a direct competitor to Sugar Bear Hair. with her own like hair, nail, gummies, whatevs, right? And so she was ticked off with the lack of loyalty from Mr. James Charles after everything she had bloody done for him. Okay. And it was a lot of stuff. And it's like, Tati, you have a right to be ticked off with James Charles, because I would be. Like, you lost loyalty for a person, like loyalty for somebody that's given you so much for a Coachella ticket. Like, what an absolute sellout. But further proves my point, he only cares about him. Now, yes, it could have been a scary situation security wise. Understand that. But to sell out your bloody loyalty for a ticket, like, probably worth a couple of grand. Like, are you saying you're worth a couple of grand? We can buy your loyalty for a couple of grand? Because that's cheap, babes. Absolute not cheap. Desperate is what it is. And you are desperate. Oh my god. Like, anyway, totally and utterly understood why Tati was pissed. And she gave us the iconic line. And you did it at my birthday dinner, because we're starting to get into this pattern where they were at a birthday dinner for Tati's birthday, and the waiter's name is Sam. And James was like, oh my god, like, I would hit Sam, like, hit him up, like, wants to sleep with Sam, wants to have a relationship with Sam, highly attracted to Sam. But Sam's trying to, like, not give up. Like James was coming on so desperate. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's awkward. Like, liked him more than Sam liked James, right? Or even want to communicate with James. Anyway, Sam came out with a video after Tati dropped Spy's sister confirming everything, but then later took the video down because it was consensual between the two or whatever, right? So there wasn't really any issues there. And Sam was 19 at the time, right? So old enough to make his own decisions, legally an adult by the legal system. And when this video dropped, okay, this Bi Sister video dropped, Mr. James Charles was over here in Oz, okay, an hour and a half away from Vegas in the Gold Coast, gonna do a massive meet and greet at Pack Fair. Like, I remember watching this video, this Bi Sisters video. Then I get on, and Channel 7 News had the whole coverage of his, like, meet and greet at Pack Fair. And I was like, how can you be supporting this bloody person trying to crack on to, like, straight people, making him, like, you know what I'm saying, like, using his power, making people uncomfortable. Like, these aren't the kind of people we need to be promoting. And furthermore, he's around bloody children, and that's freaking dangerous. Like, I was like, damn, this is disgusting, right? But he comes out with a video in response to Tati's thing, and he had been crying, and it was basically 20 minutes of him heavy breathing. The man cannot say sorry to save himself. He doesn't want to say sorry. I don't think that word exists in his vocabulary. But what's funny is, like, somebody had put together, like, a compilation. It was just 20 minutes of him heavy breathing in that video from, like, little clips. Hilarious ads. Iconic work. What the video was doing, though, was swaying people towards Tati's side. Like, babes, unless you come prepared with the receipts, which you eventually did, but it was too late. Like, don't do a video. Stay silent. Like, any PR person would tell you that. Any person with some common sense would tell you, if you don't have the ability to prove what they are saying is untrue without a doubt, okay, you come in with receipt after receipt after receipt, you shut your mouth, because time heals all and people will be on to the next bloody thing. But he didn't. So Tati came out, James came out with his response. Then Jeffree Star starts posting some tweets. Okay. And Jeffree Star was like, yeah, this is why Nate doesn't want you to come over to the house anymore. I know things. I think they were talking about this voice note that was about James Charles that's never come out because people are like, oh my God, can't do it to the light of this day. Like, they'll be mean. Like, they stuck in some ethical and moral boundaries about this voice note now after they've probably shared it with like half of the community in LA. Like, just put it up at this stage, right? Like, you haven't protected this person, whoever sent the voice note, whoever had the experience, you haven't protected them. Anyway, he was like, yeah, Nate doesn't want you coming around the house. Because here's the thing, Jeffree had what James wanted. Nate Schwandt had usually just dated women up until he met Jeffree, and I think they were together for like 5 years, actually. Jeffree had what James wanted, and James was jealous of that, right? But then, mind you, James is getting like millions upon millions upon millions of followers. Like, I think at one point he had like 21 million followers. And Jeffree and Shane were jealous of his success. Okay. They were like 10 plus years older than him and jealous of his success, right? And that shit them to tears. Because at the time, you have to recall that like Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson were doing all their like Beautiful World of Jeffree Star. Like, Shane was doing all these documentary series, which were like, people were absolutely sad. Like, they would come out and they would be like number one trending on YouTube, right? People were sad. People were ready to watch it. They were like running YouTube at that point, if that makes any kind of sense. And like, Jeffree was tweeting out, it was just like, oh, is that why your brother moved? Like, is that why you moved to New York? Because like James's brother came out with a tweet or something trying to defend James, and then Jeffree's like, yeah, tell us why you moved to New York, like on the other side of the country from your brother, kind of thing. Like, it's because he's a predator. Anyway, it got so big that people were having watch parties of James Charles' subscriber count going out. And it was like millions upon millions of people, right? People were absolutely watching it. And then YouTube had to step in because you could watch live subscriber counts on Social Blade, but you could also like, if you went on their channel, you could see it live, like to the one digit, kind of thing. Not rounded, okay? You could see every single subscriber either subscribing or unsubscribing. People were praying for this man's downfall. Like, they were like throwing absolute bangers, and YouTube had to come in and stop doing that. So now it's all rounded numbers. You can see they stopped doing like a live feed, etc. Like, they had to cut this down because it was just, oh my God. And then they had to get like Jeffree, Tati, and I think James in room, and any other person that was like playing a massive part in propelling this Dramageddon to be like, you need to behave, like, take this offline. Like, this is doing no good for anybody here, and this is getting too big to handle, and we don't want this on our platform. Okay, and then you didn't hear about it for a bit. But what you did see was Mr. Shane Dawson come out with, I think it was a Notes app thing, and he was like, yeah, like banging on James Charles' downfall because him and Jeffree were, as I said, jealous of the success that James had been experiencing, and he was just continuing to grow and grow and grow. And like, he came out and he was just like, yeah, James Charles is this narcissistic person and he needs to eat a piece of humble pie the size of what's Empire State Building in New York. And people were like, well, bud, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Like, what makes you think that you are so gracious? Like, people were calling him out, and they were also calling him out because, like, as I said, they're like 10 plus years older than them, bullying this 21-year-old that's getting like so much hate on the internet already. Like, people are worried about his mental health, which is which is fair, but like this is the time he needs to sit down, touch grass, and like get some therapy. But he did come back with a video that had receipts, and it piped people down for a bit. And the receipts were a lot of text messages. But here's the thing. Personally, when people show like me receipts on a video, etc., it's like I just don't necessarily believe you. Like you showing me this like certain section of a message without the rest of it is proving what you want it to prove. You're showing me what you want to show me, but you're not showing me the whole lot, because what the other person could have said was also true. You know, like it's edited, but like both sides could be true and the truth is somewhere in the middle. But like I just don't think that text messages, unless you show the whole bloody chat, have this sort of weight to it that people are giving, because like it can just so easily just be a snapshot out of context. It could be like it's so easy to manipulate it to fit in with your narrative that you are promoting, that I just don't think it really gives any weight to what is said in the text messages. And at that point, it's not a receipt. But if you come with the receipts, aka the text messages, it shows that you're willing to put the money where your mouth is, which gets you a bit more credibility. While this did give him a bit more credibility, this video, his subscriber count was still lost. Like people were still team Tardy, team non-James, right? And yeah, like the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And then after all that was happening, things did go a bit quiet on the James front. Like he had TV show on I think it was YouTube TV called what was it called? Instant Influencer, which was in 2020. I didn't watch the show. Like, why would I want him to show me how to become an instant influencer? Like, I don't know. I wasn't his target audience for that, obviously. It was more of his fans. But it only had one season. I'm like, are we surprised? Like, if you think James Charles' TV show, what the hell do you think? Like, something to do with makeup. But like that's not really what the show was about. So like it just didn't make any sense. Which is probably why I got cancelled. But also like I don't think James was like TV ready either. Anyway, he doesn't have to menace us with that show anymore, which is fantastic. And then we get to 2021, which we're gonna call the Snapchat era. And this is where we get to the allegations. And this is all alleged. Now, the thing about Snapchat, if you're unfamiliar, is messages and what I call photos disappear once you open them. Kind of like Instagram too. Like, you know, when you send somebody a photo, they can only view it once and then like they can't view it again. Or you could have like disappearing mode on there. Same kind of ish, right? Which just makes it really good for people doing bad things. Or not so good alleged things. Which is absolute heaven for somebody like James Charles allegedly. He was allegedly speaking to male teenagers under the age of 18, with the youngest being 14 years old, via Snapchat, via Instagram DMs, trying to convince them to be his boyfriend. a lot of them had girlfriends or like their first relationships, and your teenage years, you're working out who you are as a person, working out your sexuality, etc., starting to explore that. And for somebody to come in and you tell them that, you like women, and he's like, are you really sure about that? And confusing you is very detrimental. Like, he's using his like parasocial relationship with these teens allegedly to crack onto them. It's like a creepy uncle at a barbecue. You know that creepy uncle that just looks at you and it's like, oh my god, and like you need a shower like afterwards because you just feel disgusting. Like it's like it's just not on. Talking to these people and then they clearly don't want to interact with you, but you keep trying to force the issue because you're desperate. And look, to my knowledge, no legal thing has come out of that. Hence why I say it's all alleged. But there is this one guy that's now 18 that has been coming around because he posted a video when he was 14 saying that James Charles had like reached out to him and been sending him pictures and asking for pictures, allegedly, etc. And people were like, it got brushed under the rug after James did his apology video. And I say apology in quotation marks because I don't think there was an actual sorry in there. And this is where we get with YouTube these days. It's not an apology video. Calling it an apology video or taking accountability is an absolute joke. It's clickbait, rage bait. You best better believe. And he did in that video where James came out, his apology videos in quotation marks video came out. I think he has since deleted the video too, saying, "Oh, look, I was desperate. I just want somebody to like me for me. I just want somebody with that like straight male aesthetic. All these things," which I 110% agree because you are giving desperate. I look at you and just see desperation, which is sad, but it's true. And he was like, the real kicker was, he said, "I'll just start asking for IDs now." Let me repeat that. I'll ask for IDs to verify their age. And I was like gobsmacked, jaw to the absolute floor, because it shows that he has learnt nothing. Here's the thing, okay? Here is the absolute thing. If you want to date somebody, you go on a dating app or you get a matchmaker to find people for you that are willing to date you, that are open to dating. You don't go on Instagram DMs or Snapchat and ask people for their ID. If you have to ask for the ID, you shouldn't be talking to them. You honestly shouldn't be talking to them. Like, you're not here to find love on Snapchat or Instagram DMs. Like, you have the money to pay a matchmaker to find somebody that doesn't care about you just because of your money and your social status. Yet, you choose to remain desperate and you choose not to change your outlook on it. You choose not to do nothing. And that's going to get you back in hot water. Like, it honestly is. Like, for crying out loud. If you want to date somebody, go to the apps, go to the places where people actually want to date, and not use your parasocial relationship with impressionable teens to get your way, because you can't manipulate another person because you don't have a personality of your own. Like, that is alleged predatorial behavior, alleged grooming behavior. Like, that's dangerous. And surrounding yourself with yes people that are co-signing this kind of behavior is even more dangerous. Like, if it comes out one day, like a Cassandra to a Sean Combs kind of scenario, where somebody massive speaks out about the experience that they had with James Charles, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd 110% believe the person speaking out, because the amount of people that spoke up when the first alleged victim came out, blew my mind. I think there was up to at least 6 people, all teenagers at the time, like under the age of 18, all male, obviously, because that's what he's into, but like 6 people. That's a lot of people. Like, one allegation's a lot. You have that 6 times over, and that probably isn't even touching the goddamn surface of the people that you've been contacting. Like, you need therapy. You need somebody to give you some tough love and tell you no at sometimes. Okay? Because, like, once you involve children, okay, people under 18, it's a no-no for me. It's like, you're done, you're dusted, okay? Because they're innocent. Usually. Like, how many times has there been a child mass murderer? Just saying. Like, that has stuffed people up for life. Like, they'd have so much trauma to talk about with their therapist just because of you. Like, absolutely and utterly bonkers. But we found out he was still using Instagram as a dating app. Are we surprised? No. But this time, it was for somebody that was over the age of 18. Well done, James. Well, minimally done. Okay, doing the absolute bare minimum. Okay, and so there was a person that came out. Her name's Kayla Malik. Okay, and you might know her from her series that she came out on YouTube to help people understand when they're in an abusive relationship. And it was called He Doesn't Love You. And it details the abuse that she was subjected to while dating Evan Johnson. And she told the story from victim, because people are like, why can't you leave? But like, it just had all the intricacies of why you stay. You thought things were going to change. They show you a different side for like 3 weeks, and then it goes back to it, right? And she's like, people, if your partner is showing these signs, they don't love you. You need to actually get out. Like, they don't. They will tell you that they do, but it is a complete and utter lie. Okay, she is doing a social service and massive PSA. Anyway, she recently won a court battle against Evan Johnson, and he was sentenced to do some jail time because of all the domestic abuse, etc. But here's the kicker. Kayla thought her and James were like kind of friends, like acquaintances. Okay, not besties, but acquaintances. They had each other's numbers, they would talk. Every time Kayla posted a Instagram story or a photo with her and Evan, whatever they were doing, whatever was going on, James would always comment only on those stories, on those photos, being like, oh my God, he's such a hottie, he's such a cutie, blah, blah, blah. You're so lucky, while they were dating. Then Kayla told James that they had broken up, and he's like, oh my God, oh no. Meanwhile, he's booking flights for Mr. Evan Johnson to come out and stay with him, and he started cracking on to him. And Kayla's like, wow, he's out for himself. He only cares about himself. Like, it diminishes me, diminishes my story. Like, I thought you were on my side. I thought we were friends, but clearly you just wanted to F my boyfriend. And, like, I think this just proves, like, further shows the mentality of this man. Like, he doesn't care. He is just there for him, and if it don't benefit him, he ain't doing it. And does anybody else also remember, like, this is going a bit back actually. This could have been pre-COVID. When he did his tour, but he was like charging an exuberant amount for these for these tour tickets to hear him sing. Like, he would do a singing part as part of this thing, but like, he couldn't sing. Like, he thought he was like the next Billie Eilish or like Beyonce, and he clearly wasn't. Like, tone deaf, literally. Like, learn to read a room. Like, put those glasses on, babes. Read a room, or just go to Specsavers, because like, was not worth the money. You know, people were complaining about it so much, and for what you got, it was so little. And he came out and he was just like, well, to be honest with you, you were actually getting so much money's worth from me and my tour, but like, people felt ripped off. Anybody remember that? Yeah, that was a time. Anyway, then another controversy that he was in also was he came out with Sisters merch, which was seriously dead set, nearly a replica of the Teddy Fresh Healer Klein H3 drop that had just come out. Like, literally the same week, I think. And he was just like, yeah, they're kind of similar, but they're not the same. But like, the man, James Charles, has not had an original thought himself. So, like, the thing with the kids got me, but like, I don't think any legal case had ever been sort of like brought upon, or like, people were found out to, it's like not 100% true, or they just took the money and didn't want to do the court battle, which is fair, because like, being a teenager and having to go through a court battle that would be like very public is a lot. So overall, okay, what are my thoughts on James? I don't think he's changed. I don't think he will change. And I think people will continue to come out and share their experiences with James as being negative experiences, especially for young, impressionable males, young, impressionable children. Like, if it comes out like 5-10 years down the road that he was doing similar stuff to another like 10-20 people, I wouldn't be surprised. If it gets taken to court, I wouldn't be surprised. He's never going to apologize, and I reckon he's going to do, if anything does ever lead to a court battle, like, he's going to do everything to get it to settle outside of court, which a lot of people do anyway. Court's a long and lengthy process, right? And I think James Charles is his own biggest enemy. Just purely because, like, he believes he's the best. His narcissistic tendencies will lead him to shoot himself in the foot. You know, and that's why I think we're going to get a lot more controversies out of him, because he's just not going to change. And at some point, somebody's not going to co-sign his behavior anymore, and he's just going to speak out, and it's going to be this like massive expose, and I wouldn't honestly be surprised. And like, I think if he sat down and did some soul searching and created an original idea and was a bit more authentic online, I think his followers would build up more. But it's this lack of originality, this lack of, like, there's a person there. Like, it feels produced, it doesn't feel authentic, which is like, YouTube's whole thing was to be out there, to be you, to be authentic. Which I think if he shifted more towards that, it'd be better off for him. I also think he needs to also stop hanging out with people from the clout house or whatever, that hype house, because he was hanging out with people there that were alleged to be doing the same things that James was alleged to be doing, but it was like found out to be true in court. Birds of a feather flock together. Like, you aren't surrounding yourself with the right people. So overall, I think he's just messy and he's going to continue to be messy. And I'm just sitting here waiting for the day that this massive whatever it is comes to light about his activities. Because you best better believe I still reckon he's on Snapchat and Instagram talking about underage kids. I reckon he is. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, because nothing over the course of what we've talked about today has shown that he's changed or willing to change. Like, the man wouldn't even go on a dating app to try to date somebody. I mean, like, a lot of you have horrible experiences on dating sites, websites and apps, that's fair, but like you're not turning to Instagram and Snapchat to date somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going, I don't know, to bars or whatever, right? Like, places where people are more receptive and open to dating. Not people that are underage, not looking to date, kind of thing. Well, not looking to date you. So, yeah, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the chaos. And if you're not already, give us a follow on Spotify, Instagram, and Apple Podcasts. And jump onto Insta if you want to yell into the void with me in between episodes. And remember, life's unhinged, so you might as well be too. Stay chaotic out there.